expectations because I need a team that's way smarter than me. I'm 26. If I know how to do your job better than you do, then there's no use. You know, I need you to explode my brain, and I need to say like, okay, I'm gonna pretend I understood, but the real thing is that I didn't get anything. That's the thing that I need in my company. And the other, I don't know in this country, but I'm gonna speak on behalf of mine. In my country, if you listen to a woman kind of brag about herself or speak good about herself, it's like, who do you think she is? You know, it's like, please shut up. And I can't stand that. I like people who owns their power. I like people who can talk without humble about themselves, that can say, I am good at this, I am awesome at this, I know how to do this better than blah, 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 you know? Because then I know that you own your power. And if you own your power and you're smarter than me, then I need you in my company.
I love that, own your power. Sylvia.
I think to add on to that, make sure you're good at least one thing. But you have to be very good at it, and you have to know it as well. Because I think a lot of young people go into the workplace and say, I don't really know what I'm good at. I don't really know what to do. And they expect to be told, to be taught. Of course, our job is to identify what they're good at. But I think same with Carla, the people I would hire are also people who know they're good at least one thing, and they have to pick it.
Did you want to weigh in?
I think for a startup, very similar to Bell, like ability to learn fast. For me, another thing is, ever since we were small, we're looking for someone who has a clear why of why they want to join us. I mean, they can join any other companies if they are smarter than you and they own their power. They can pretty much join any company. So when we were young, we were looking for, as a company, when we were young, we were looking for people who are really passionate about what we do. Either they want to build something, they care about financial literacy, something in there has to click with them, because those people will give it their all, they will go above and beyond, they truly care about something larger than just their job scope.
So speaking of a larger picture, millennials have pressed for more accountability from their companies regarding environmental, sustainability, and climate change initiatives. Have any of you incorporated these initiatives into your work in your company? And just start talking. Whoever would like to go first.
Yeah, for FreshGet, we developed a food supply chain platform. We have our own processing center, cut and trim vegetable, right? And we have DC distribution centers to boxing the product and logistic to deliver the order to the restaurants. So the first thing that we do, we changed the cardboard box to the reusable box, right? And the customer is very happy. We are very happy as well. We can reduce the cardboard box more than 80% last year. And on top of that, we developed demand forecasting to forecast the supplies to reduce the waste. And from the system that we developed, we can reduce the waste 20% last year from our processing centers. Yes, and we will keep developing to align with the ESG in the futures. Yes, there's two main things that initiative that we will do, and it's quite successful last year.
Anyone else want to talk about ESG?
I think that naturally for us in real estate, when I started, it was mostly environmental. So we try to make sure that every province that we go in with an initiative to make the city cleaner and more beautiful by also honing in the skills and improving and creating an environment for local green leaders. Because I think that when you go in and just start like cleaning up the trash, that's not sustainable. You have to actually identify local green leaders, because they are the kind of people who will go and clean the cities for the rest of their lives, and they will keep continuing to think about that. So we fund for these initiatives, we train them, we help grow them as a community throughout the cities that we build. And then going beyond that, when I started really caring about women empowerment and also gender equality in Vietnam, and the way that I approach ESG is that I want to use our company as a prototype. I think I'm young enough to use my company as an example. If it's new in Vietnam, no one has done it, why don't you let us do it? And then after that, I will share in this kind of panel through media, through different business associations, how to do it, is it easy? And I think that this kind of information sharing is super important because we're trying to change and we're trying to get on the ESG boat in the quickest way. And I think that change doesn't happen unless everyone in all sectors are on board and sharing the same message. And that push will also help the government to understand how to collectively changes across different levels and implementing different policies related to this information as well. Because when you only throw out information, I want this, but then the whole environment around it doesn't support it, then it's very difficult for change. So, in terms of ESG, I think now we have sort of moved past the phase where we do it internally. I use myself as a vehicle to share it with the business community, and we continue to adopt and adapt newest things in relations to SDGs, ESGs, and now building it into corporate governance and trying to make sure that our company would last for 4 or 5 generations and going way beyond.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
Yeah, in my company, actually, we were the first company in parking lots development who turned as much as we could in green. Why? In Mexico, whenever you pay a parking lot, you get a ticket, a physical ticket. And whenever you pay back, you just give out. What's the problem in that, environmentally speaking, that ticket has a magnetic band? And that magnetic band, it's not reusable, so that's only trash, literally trash. So we have Mexican people here. Do you remember when it was like ticket-only parking lot, and then a company started like this system using the cards, the intelligent cards? I know it's not that much technology, but in my country, technology is getting, and people is starting to accepting it, and it's so exciting to see small changes because we have more than 500 active clients using our park machines. So imagine just one of them uses 20,000 access per day. Imagine the amount of tickets that we give every day, and now multiply that per 500. So we changed all our systems to the intelligent card, and we said to our clients, if you don't change with us, then we can't be your providers anymore because you're going to be out of our technology. And then the reports as well. The reports were paper, that's it, like an Excel spreadsheet, and we changed it to intelligent artificial intelligence. So reports are automatically from the cashier to the government department. No need for auditory.
Technology is so important.
Yeah.
For us, because we're a digital product, we see more of a responsibility as how to educate people and our young consumers for the country. So our average age of investors, people who invest in the stock market through our application, is like 22. And that is really important because we are the first source of how they get to understand what managing their finances mean. And this is a topic that most people don't learn in school. And so we take that responsibility very seriously because you could very well teach them the wrong things and then they go and buy risky assets and then they suffer from it later. Or you can do the right thing and tell them maybe this is not the good time to buy, even though it might not be the best thing for the business. But if we think of it as we are here to serve customer in the long term, it is always better to do the right thing in the long term. So I would defer to all these ladies about ESG, but that is something that we take in terms of responsibility.
Wonderful. So before I go to the last question, we're going to have plenty of time for Q&A. So I encourage you to start thinking about your questions. There are 3 microphones if you want to start lining up. There's one over there, there's one in the middle, and there's one over towards the right of the stage. So the last question I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask you a double question. What are the challenges you see for your company going forward? And do you have any one piece of advice you'd like to give to the students here today? In any order.
I'll go first since I always went last. The key challenge in my industry, as shared in the macroeconomic sessions this morning, is the workforce. After 2 years of COVID, a lot of people has left the travel, tourism, hospitality industry, so our costs are skyrocketing. We talk a lot about the logistic issues of all materials, food included, that goes into a hotel. So our expenses are getting very high, and the barrier of travel is still slowly easing, but not there yet. So I think, we have to find a way to connect the industry again, find a way to figure out all of the disconnections, where it happened, how to quickly put it together so that we can lower the cost, and at the same time motivate people enough so that more people would rejoin and get back into the industry. So that is our number one key challenge. It always starts with human capital. And one advice I would like to share, especially with students, and I think this also goes with a lot of women of any age here today. I think that entrepreneurship or a career is ever changing, and it's very important for us all to forgive ourselves sometimes for making mistakes, because I interview a lot of young students, and a lot of them go through school and essentially always trying to do something to please their parents, and they never faced mistakes before. So when they enter the workforce, when they start taking leadership positions, they really feel bad. Every single time they make a mistake and they never forgive themselves. They feel bad because of their team members, disappointing everyone around you. And I think this is a common thing for women to feel in general. So my advice is always to forgive yourself, because we're always just learning. Regardless of your age, you're just learning. We're always improving, and tomorrow is a chance to do it differently and to make new mistakes so that we grow the next day. So that is my 2 cents.
That's wonderful, wonderful. How about you, Belle?
For me, the challenging thing is about change, right? Because things change so fast. And on top of that, there are many factors that we have to incorporate to make these decisions. That's really challenging because we have to grow fast, and while we have to think it through in many, many factors, it's more complicated. So this is challenging thing for me. So we have to adapt myself so fast as well. Yeah, that's a challenging thing for me.
Any advice for the college students here?
Yeah, I think it is about the same thing, is ability to learn, right? Because it's not only in Thailand, I think it's the globe, right? Things change so fast. So the one thing that you can survive, you have to improve your ability to learn and learn faster. Because I think currently knowledge is commodity, right? It's not like 10 years ago. People can access to knowledge very easy. So you have to improve other skill, right? How to learn faster, and you have to set your clear goal, where you want to go, right? And where you are, and decide your own path